Okay, 30% of 250. The first step is to change the 30% into a fraction. It has 2 digits, so the fraction will have 2 zeros. Of means times, and then we have 250, which as a fraction is 250 over 1. The first thing I'm going to do is cross cancel. So I'm going to divide that by 10 and that by 10. Now I can simplify this fraction. I'm going to divide that by 10 and that by 10. I'm left with 3 over 1 times 25 over 1, which is the same as 3 times 25, which is 25, 50, 75. 30% of 250 is 75, and I got the answer by simplifying the fractions both with the numerator and denominator and cross-cancelling. So I was able to simplify diagonally between these two numbers to keep the numbers I end up with really simple and easy to use in my head. Let's try the next one, 50% of 84. Of 84. Well, you probably know that 50% is half, so we'll go straight for that. Half times 84 over 1. I can cross cancel between these two numbers. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, 84 divided by 2 is 42. And I'm left with 1 over 1 times 42 over 1, which is the same as 1 times 42, which is, of course, 42. So again, by simplifying and cross-cancelling, I was able to keep the numbers really simple and complete the sum without too much hard work. Let's try 35% of 80. Change my 35% into a fraction. 2 digits, 2 zeros. Of means times. 80 as a fraction is 80 over 1. Straight away, I can cross cancel. Divide that by 10, divide that by 10. And I'm left with 35 over 10 times 8 over 1. I can cancel further. I could divide this by 5, divide this by 2, which will give me 5, and divide this by 2, which will give me 4. And finally, I can simplify here. I can divide that by 5 and that by 5. And I'm left with 7 over 1 times 4 over 1, which is 7 times 4, 28. Using cross-cancelling and simplifying, I really make my numbers easy to deal with before I try and calculate. One last one, 62% of 30. So 62% as a fraction, 2 digits, 2 zeros, of is times, and 30 as a fraction is 30 over 1. Straight away, I can cross cancel and divide them both by 10. What I'm going to do here to give myself a decimal answer is divide this by 10, simplifying that fraction to 6.2, and then I just have to times it by 3, because that's quite an easy number to deal with. So 3 times 6.2 is 18.6. Okay, you have a go. Try the next row of sums and see how you get on. If you pause the video and then you can play it once you've done them to see if you got the answers right. So let's see how you did. The first one, 55% of 250. 55 over 100 times 250 over 1. Cross cancel. Let's cross cancel. Divide that by 5. Divide that by 5. And then I'm left with 55 over 2 times 5. I can't simplify it any further, so I'm going to have to do the sum. 55 times 5. 5 5s are 25, 5 5s are 25, 27. And the answer needs to be divided by 2. So the answer is 275 divided by 2. 2's into 2 go 1. 2's into 7 go 3, remainder 1. 2's into 15 go 7, remainder 1. And 2's into 10 go 5. 137.5. That was quite a tricky one actually. 63% of 6/9. So this is slightly different. But if you just follow the same rules, 63 is a fraction, 2 digits, 2 zeros, of is times. 6/9 is already a fraction, so we don't need to do anything. Cross-cancelling, I know that 9 divides by 9, and so does 63. There are 7 9s in 63. And if I leave that actually, because dividing by 100 is really simple. So now I've got 7 over 100 times 6 over 1, which is 42 over 100. I just need to divide this by 100 to get my answer. There we are, 0.42. %42 of 30. 42, 2 digits, 2 zeros, times 30 over 1. Cross cancel straight away. And what I'm going to do is leave this because it's easy to divide by 10. Or I could do it straight away actually, and I'll end up with 4.2 times 3, which equals 12.6. Or you could do 42 times 3 and then divide it by 10. I think this is easier. Last one, 24% of 48. This is quite a tricky one. I'm going to, what shall I do? I think I'll divide this by 2 and that by 2. So I'll end up with 50 and 24. And then I shall divide this and this by 2. We'll end up with 25 and 12. There's not going to be any easy way to do this. So I'm going to do the sum. 12 times 24. Well, 10 times 24 is 240. 2 times 24 is 48. So the answer is 288. And I've got to divide it by 25. So 288 divided by 5. No, that's not right. Do that again. Do that again, sorry. 24% of 48. 20